Hello everybody, this is M ASMR, and today I have a very unusual little video to make for you. I just wanted to do this really quickly because I had to bring this book back to the library tomorrow. But this is the August 2019 edition of Art in America, and it's a guide of museums, galleries, and artists. As some of you know from watching my video, I'm an artist, and it's very useful for me to get this book, especially this edition of it when it comes out, so I can leaf through it and find local galleries, and that gives me a lot of opportunities. So anyway, I just thought that the cover of this book was really interesting, and even though this is certainly not going to be my standard eye test or color chart video, I thought that we could take the pointer and just go through what is happening in this picture. And I will try to zoom in so you guys can see it a little clearer. But to begin with, let's just look at what this is. So essentially, and I'm sorry about these stickers, but I can't take them off because this book is coming from the library, and I just don't want to take those stickers off. So anyway, I'm sorry if I'm talking a little loud. I should be quieter. Anyway, this cover page represents a museum. The way that this is set up almost reminds me of MoMA, which is a beautiful modern art museum in New York. It's actually closed now until October for renovations, but just the way that it's very open-aired kind of reminds me of that. Now obviously there's no walls or borders, so this is an artistic rendition of a museum, but I really like this because every little section shows something different about the art world, and I just thought it was absolutely brilliantly put together, and it was gorgeously illustrated, and that's why I wanted to share it. And it's very complicated, so we're going to go through it and go through everything that's happening in this picture, and I hope you guys will enjoy this. So I guess to begin with, we will start right here. So we'll say that this section here is kind of the ground floor, and this might be where people enter the museum. So let's zoom in. And I'm sorry about the camera angles if they're a little awkward. This is my first time making a video like this. So if people enter the museum here, you'll see that it almost looks like this museum is being getting prepared for an opening. It almost looks like the museum is closed and everybody's setting up the work, even though it looks like there's people in the museum. Maybe they're all artists, because it certainly doesn't look like it's open for business yet. Like, for example, here you have this lovely splatter painting, and this looks like something from an artist, Jackson Pollock, something that he would have done where he splattered paints. And if you look down here, there's an artist working on canvas. And for some reason, all this white here, I think at some point there was a sticker or something on this magazine, and that did some damage, unfortunately. So this is not part of the art. I apologize for that. But here's the art on the wall, and then you see this thing here. It's a little rolled canvas, and there is the artist, and he's actually painting. So he's in a green shirt, and he's painting this pink and green splatter painting. And then if we move over here, there are, sorry, I went sideways. There are more artists, and they are setting up this huge sculpture. It looks like, it almost looks like a jungle gym though, doesn't it? So maybe the artist is making a commentary about, you know, childhood and playing and fun, because it does remind me of a jungle gym. But it is an abstract sculpture, and there's an artist, and he's setting it up. And then there's another artist. Now that's probably her chair, but she's off the chair. It looks like she's painting a portrait that looks like the sculpture. And if you look over here, there's another one on the wall, so it looks like this artist made a sculpture, and then this artist is painting it and hanging it on the wall. And there's pieces of the sculpture here, and there's little cans of paint. Do you see how detailed that is? And then here's a man standing, looking at the other artist. So he's probably a helper, an assistant. And then if we come over here, there is more art on the ground. And see all these little pieces? And then there's another artist in brown assembling this. So it looks like this is a collage, and this artist has all these pieces that they're putting together, and it even looks like they have a little canister of glue. Can you see that? And this is exactly what my room looks like when I have collage. Collage does make a mess, but it looks nice at the end. And then look, here's some beautiful abstract paintings on the wall that it looks like this artist has done. And then over here, there's just another piece of art hanging, and I guess it's going to go on the other side of the wall. And if you look over here, look at this beautiful abstract sculpture. And it looks like there's another artist working on this one, and this one's absolutely gorgeous. So now let's move down the stairs. Now this is very interesting. So if you move down the stairs, it almost looks like this is a basement section. And even though the museum is kind of in disarray and things are crazy and artists are setting up, it looks like there may be a little entranceway here. And it looks like there is a class going on here. So we can't see a door, but maybe this door is locked so they won't bother the artist. And they can come in off the street this way, and then they are in the classroom. And as you can see, of all these students, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and they're all painting this nude figure. See her standing there, posing. And then you see other figures on the wall. Finished canvases of nude figures as well. So that is an art class that's going on. Now the only part of this painting that is a little disjointed, or this illustration that's a little disjointed and doesn't make sense, is this section here. Because we don't see any stairs indicating what this section is, unless of course there's another stairway down here, you know, maybe like a little back way entrance that we just don't see because this wall is blocking it. But this is clearly a loading dock. So we have a truck here, and there's 2 men, and they're taking this beautiful abstract canvas out of the back of the truck. Then there's another guy here. It looks like he's an overseer. He's standing on a box, and this man with a forklift is either carrying a box, or maybe this is not a box. This may be a stand, because if you look up here, there's a man on top here, and they're on top of these huge rings. Wait 1 second. See, 1, 2, 3 cranes, and he's got this enormous mask. Look at that. It looks like it's a big bronze sculpture. And it looks like they're lowering the mask onto the stand. So maybe this is another section of the museum, and when the truck leaves and the forklift leaves, people will eventually be able to come to this section as well. And then, similarly on this side, you have another worker up here on top of the canvas, and this canvas is being lowered down somewhere. I don't know where to. And there it is. And who knows, maybe these cranes are actually hanging apparatuses. Maybe this is how they're going to display the art. Because abstract art museums do some pretty unusual things sometimes with displays. They're very creative. And then this man here looks like he's trying to help guide the mass down. So that's that section. So we got that section covered, this section covered. So now let's just continue on. Let's say that this is the front door, right, of the museum. So normally guests would come in this way, and they'd walk up the stairs. And there's a little sign here. I'm assuming it's saying, you know, what the fees are for that day. And then you go through these glass doors, and look, there's these little sculptures. They look like squiggles, but they're little abstract sculptures. 1, 2, 3, in green, red, and blue. Oops, sorry. And it looks like there's a check-in desk here. And it looks like there's an artist up here with a bullhorn. So they're probably like speaking about their work or announcing it, or perhaps they've just, you know, finally snapped and flipped out and are shouting at everyone, because, you know, some artists are a little kooky. And this is this beautiful, beautiful abstract piece on the wall, and people are looking at it in amazement. But I still say that the museum is not yet open, because look, in the middle of the floor is this giant box. Now, maybe this is a piece of abstract art. You never know. There's a smaller box. So it could be like a parent and a child sculpture, which is actually the name of one of my collections. So it might just be abstract art, but it actually looks like something that art would come in. which definitely fits with the theory that maybe all of these people are just workers. Maybe that's why he's up on the desks or up on the cabinet screaming. Maybe he's a very disgruntled worker. But anyway, if we come over here, you can see this big stairway, and there's more workers, a guy in a green shirt and a guy in a yellow shirt, and they are moving this big painting. It almost looks like a rug, but it's too stiff to be a rug, so it's gotta be a canvas, and they're moving it up the stairs, and they're gonna take it. It's probably just gonna make it through this little opening, and they're taking it upstairs to this section. And on this platform, you have more boxes that have yet to be unpacked. But look at this interesting sign. It says Art Fair. So on this floor of the museum, there's a little fair going on. So if you come up the stairs and come in here, you'll see all these little cubicle spaces. And I go to a lot of art fairs, and this is exactly what they look like. They're like little mazes. And as you can see, if you look in there, there's a lot of people looking at abstract art. You've got circular paintings and splatter paintings. This painting could come from the same artist, the painting down here. And got lines and greens and yellows. And some realist ones there. It looks like a lady. So it just goes on and on. So it looks like this is a very busy art fair. And again, maybe it's not open yet. These could all be people setting up. And then if we move in here, let's say that you were at the museum, right? You would move from this area over to this section here. And look at these beautiful glass ways. Oops, I'm sorry. It did not crash, but I nearly dropped it. Okay. It's hard to steady the camera for a video like this. I apologize. So anyway, up here, we have a walkway in this beautiful glass doorway, and then in this area, this section actually looks like it's complete. It looks like this area is just ready to go. Like maybe these are people that they've let in early, like maybe the artists themselves, maybe some members of the press, just how nice everything looks in this gallery section. So you have this big, huge painting, very geometric and abstract, and this painting here on the wall. And then look, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 sculptures that are all on stands, and a lot of people. She's wearing a lovely green shawl. Look at that. All these people standing there looking at the art. So this one looks like it's ready to go. And then if we move up here, let's say you were in this gallery, right? You would then move up these stairs. You have the option to go to 1 or 2 places. So you could go over this way and take a seat here. Look at this speech. Obviously, whatever's going on here, this may be a big press conference with this artist, or her fan club or something, because she is giving a speech. There's a beautiful piece of art behind her. I love the shapes in this. I love the color in this. This is like one of my favorite things in the entire illustration. And she's giving a big speech to everybody about the work and about her process. And as that is going on, let's say you don't want to sit in for the speech, you could walk this way, and you would come upon something very interesting indeed. 1 second. You would come upon, and let me see if there's a way that I can show you this without dropping the camera and terrorizing everybody trying to watch this video to relax. Okay, you would come upon an art auction. So as you can see, there's some people standing just watching, and see the people sitting down. Some of them are holding up these little red signs, and that means that they're bidding on this art. So here is the auctioneer, and he's shouting at the crowd, and people are holding up and their pieces, and they're bidding on the art. And look at how detailed this is. So these 2 men here are holding this painting, and in the background there is a screen that shows the same exact painting, just much bigger. And see, look at the information. Now, if you can't read the information, there's nothing wrong with your eyes. I actually can't read it either. I don't think it's legible on the page, but it's just in real life, this section here would be all about the artist, the price, the year it was made. But I just love that they included little white lines to like indicate writing. So it's so detailed. You have the screen, the art, the people holding it, the stage, the auctioneer, people sitting, people bidding. It's so cool. But let's say that you didn't want to go to the auction, so you just wanted to keep walking, and then you could stand and see this beautiful sculpture that looks like a seashell, and people are amazed by it. And look, they've had to put, those red, it's kind of a gate, but it's those really super fancy gates with the gold legs and the red velvet. And it looks like they've had to put that up to keep people from going near it because it's just so beautiful. The art here is probably my favorite piece of art shown, or my favorite painting shown. But this is probably my favorite sculpture in this illustration. It's something that's like the kind of art that I make. Very circular and swirly. I love swirls. Love them. So anyway, let's say that you move past this. You could move this way and then observe this beautiful painting. A lot of people doing that. And then you could come over here and observe this. And this is kind of, I guess you would call it a bust, even though a bust is technically like shoulders as well. And this is just a head. But it's very realistic. And I'm purely an abstract artist, but I do appreciate people that can do things as realistically. And there's a lady here, and she's with a child, and she's looking up at the face with the child, and she's got a red backpack on and yellow dress. And again, they have a protective. It's not really a gate. I don't know what you would call this. Protective divider. Actually, in most museums, at least in New York, you don't see protective dividers like this too often because everything is alarmed with these invisible lasers. And if you get too close to the work, the alarm goes off. I've been lucky. I've only set an alarm off in a museum once, and it was by accident. It was very busy, and somebody knocked into me, and I stepped over a line, and the alarm went off. But every single time I'm in the museum, somebody manages to set off an alarm by stepping too close to something or trying to peer in to see a detail too much. So I think like the guards are used to it at this point. Like I think the majority of the alarms that go off are not because somebody's stealing something, but because somebody got too close to something. But you very rarely see these. And when the alarms go off, it's not actually that dramatic. It's not like, like whistles or bells. I mean, I guess if you took something off the wall, it would be. But it basically just like this little beep sound. It's like this annoying little buzzing sound, and as soon as you step away, it stops. So that's how they do it in the majority of museums. Now up here, let's say that you want to move away from this section, want to come up here. You come across this beautiful floor. And look at this gorgeous sculpture. This looks like the work of a sculptor named Alexander Calder. He's one of my favorite artists of all time. If you get a chance, look him up. His name is Alexander Calder. That's Calder. He made beautiful abstract mobiles, and they move and they kind of dance. They're absolutely gorgeous. And this is exactly what this looks like. And as you can see, it's this standing sculpture. And it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little shapes extending from it, like a little universe. And it's on a stand, and there's a lady looking at it and a man looking at it. And then its neighbor are these columns. So this reminds me of work of an artist by the name of Dale Chihuly. Now, Dale Chihuly is a very famous glass artist. He does beautiful, beautiful glass work. Some of it is very, very intricate. If you look up Dale Chihuly, and I can't think of how to spell his last name exactly, but just look up, like Google Dale C. Glass Artist, and it will come up. He's got work in Las Vegas. He does these great chandeliers. He does stuff at the Botanical Gardens. He had a great show at the New York Botanical Gardens not that long ago. But he also does these pieces of glass that are literally just like these spikes that stick up in the air. but because they're transparent, when the light hits them, they're gorgeous. And that's exactly what this looks like. It looks like it's an installation of his glass spikes, and you have like red and yellow and purple and blue and orange, and it looks like people are standing there and looking through them at like this rainbow kaleidoscope. That's what's going on there. And then if you move this way, like this lady is doing, you come across this big black space agey type sculpture, which I think has a lot of dignity. And you move past that, you come up the stairs, and there's this little chaotic looking sculpture that this lady's looking at. And then, now we're heading towards, we're heading towards the end of the museum. So you come up here, and there's trees. So right here, you're on the roof. So you see there's a tree there and some plants. And look, there's a sculpture on the roof, this little black sculpture. And then if you come over here, there's more trees. And then there's this gorgeous gold sculpture. So let's try to zoom in on this as much as possible. So this sculpture almost looks like a Greek god of some kind, doesn't it? And you know, in a way, it's very befitting that this particular sculpture looks more realistic and classical and historical, like a Greek or Roman sculpture. And the reason for that is because the rest of the image really shows a lot of abstract art, like you would see at MoMA or another museum called the Guggenheim. But this one looks like something that you would see at the Met, which is short for the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And the Metropolitan Museum of Art is really dedicated to world art, world history art. They do have a very good abstract art section of the Met, definitely worth visiting. But the vast majority of their stuff is historical type of art, which is also wonderful. It's a great place to go. You can get lost. I mean, I've been in that museum for like 6 hours straight. I mean, literally until it's closed, and I basically get put out. I mean, you can get lost in there forever. But it's wonderful that they have this particular sculpture in this section, because the Met is also known for having a nice rooftop. They have a gallery on the roof. It's not always open. I don't know if they open it at all in the winter, because in New York we have really extreme temperatures. Like, we can get extreme heat, but we also get really bad cold. I mean, in the winter, you can literally freeze to death in New York City. So that's why I think they close it in the winter altogether. But in the summer and the spring and even in the fall, they have artwork up on the roof. Now, their roof is not quite as green and lush and pretty as this, although a lot of buildings in the city now are putting a lot more greenery on the roofs. But the Met does have a great rooftop space, and that's why I think they chose to put this art here, because it represents the Met. I don't know that for certain, but I'm assuming that's kind of what the artist was going for. So that is the whole section of this wonderful illustration. I just wanted to show it to you. In case anybody was wondering, I don't actually live in the city, in Manhattan, but I do live in New York, and I go to these galleries pretty frequently. And I also go to museums very frequently. And it's wonderful. If you ever do come to New York on vacation, it's definitely worth going to these places. And then obviously you were visiting this one and you wanted to leave, you would just come from here, go all the way back down. You'd pass the Dale Chihuly pieces, the Calder piece, come back down here, past the big head, past the abstract piece, past the pretty swirling sculpture, past the auction, past the speech, down the stairs, through this beautiful gallery, back over here, past the art fair, past the people carrying art, past the crazed person having a breakdown or giving the speech, who knows, out this door, down here, past the artist, and then you could go out this way, or you could come down this way, past these people building and constructing their exhibit, has the new model, and out the door this way. And the fact that there's multiple exits is also really great because in real museums there are many, many exits. So the exits has entrances. Well, thank you very much for watching this video. I know that this is certainly not my standard type of ASMR video. I do have another video coming soon, which I hope to make really soon, but hopefully maybe tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But that will be more traditional, like colors and asking questions about colors and that. But I still thought that this was kind of interesting, and I thought you guys might like it. And let me know if you did enjoy this and would like to see more videos of me, examining a busy type of picture and showing it to you in detail like I did with this. It's not easy to find images like this, but if you did enjoy this video, I'll definitely make an effort to do so. So thank you for watching, and I